Hello, welcome to Sally's Sewing Bee. I'm Sally Thompson and today I'm going to show you how to make a leather tassel which looks really nice. I use them for all sorts of things. I put them on my bags, I put them on keys actually. I use them really a lot for that. Keys that are left in the doors or in sort of like wardrobe keys. It just looks really pretty, so you can use really nice colours that matches your decor. Okay, so let me come up to the table and I'll show you. This is just an example of a type of tassel you can make. This is the same shape that I'm going to be showing you, but this one has got two layers. I like to do that for the contrast. That's something you could do. And what I've done there is I've just stuck them together just on the top part, but rolled them together as one. Don't know if you can see that. Oh, excuse me. I've made it come to a point there. I used to make them just totally sort of like a straight line coming down, but I found that they got kind of rucked a little bit at the top, so I find this is a much neater way and there's very little wear on that, and it will stay like that pretty much forever, which is good news. So let me show you what I've got on the table here. I made this pattern for my tassel. Sometimes there's a bit of trial and error, to be honest, but I knew that I wanted this tassel to be much longer than the one on my bag because it's going to hang from a key. So I've made it, it's about 9 centimetres long, and that's the movable part, so that's from this line down to here. This bit here is that top bit here, and that can vary. You might want to make it deeper or shorter, and that's up to you. It's whatever pleases you. This bit is that point that I showed you to stop the leather being rucked at the edge. The other important thing, I just need to show you this again. The leather that you choose for your tassel needs to be pretty good, okay? Because if you've got some horrible colouring at the edge, some leather has got like a white line on the edge and it looks really horrible. And unless you're going to sit there and just coat all the edges, which is ridiculous because you wouldn't, and in fact the colour, if it's got nice colour, it looks rather super duper anyway. I have edge coated just the top edge where that point is, but that is the only part. The rest of it I've just left because the back of this, the suede of this leather is really nice, lovely purple, and even the back of this foil pigskin has got a nice grey suede to it. So you need to go for quite good quality. Okay. Now, having made my card pattern, I've then laid it on my leather. So I don't cut out a piece to this shape and then make a tassel out of it. What I've done is I've laid this card on, I've drawn round with my silver pen, I've marked this line and I've marked this line. And then, you can probably see those lines now, that is what I've done before I've taken it out. So I've actually cut it while it's still in the skin. If I was to cut out the tassel like that and then I try and cut down here, it actually pulls and stretches the leather and it will ruin your tassel, it will look really naff. This is a great way of getting the bottom to be really sharp. So let me just show you how I got to there. I'm just going to lift this out so you can see. Ooh, a lovely tassel. Okay, well, started one anyway. Let me put that up there for the moment. So and you can see those are the little cut marks. Yeah. I've drawn another one here, and I'm only going to show you a few little bits. At this point, I'm just thinking, ooh, have I sharpened my knife since I last used it? You know what? I can't remember. So let's. We'll just see how I go. So I've drawn that line at the top here, so this is that bit, sorry, can't see that. So this is that bit there. So it's only this bit that I'm going to cut, and this is the bit that goes around the top. I've started at the edge where the point is because it makes it easier, because it does get a little bit vague as you're going down here, because sometimes you just have to finish the end bit as you need to. But you do need to make sure that you keep your cuts as even as possible. So I'm going to cut the first one just to show you. So I'm stopping short of the skin, but I've just gone past the bottom line there, okay? On my next one, I suppose, well, the thing is, it's up to you how thin you do them. I'm making these they're about 4mm. If I made them any wider, the tassel wouldn't have quite so much movement and it would have a slightly chubbier look. If I made them thinner, then the tassel would move more, but it does depend on the leather as well. If I use a finer leather and I make it really thin, they really sort of shimmy when they move, which is rather nice. I'm not going to do the whole lot, it'll take me forever. But basically, you need to make sure that you're not going squiffy like that all along. So I do check ever so often. So by the time I've got to about, I don't know, here, and there's the end of my tassel, I'm checking that I haven't done it on a funny line. I'd try and correct if I had, unless I've gone really, really wrong, in which case I'll probably have to start all over again. So I would have cut that out. Then I would have cut round this and this, all along the top and down this side and then across the bottom. To be honest, that actually is not the order in which I would have done it. After I would have finished doing all those, I probably would have cut out my bottom line first, yeah, because then I've got the support of the rest of it. So when you've cut your bits coming down, cut along the bottom to get your straight edge, then you can cut out around the other sides. Okay, so let me put that to one side. There is my tassel, yeah, ready to roll. You can see here I've actually put a little loop, and that's because I'm going to put that around the little ring, sort of open jump ring that's threaded through the key in my kitchen door, and that's what this is going to be for. I've used a piece which is the same as that. I've doubled it, glued it together, scratched a bit of the leather as I glue it and stick it onto the other side, and that will allow me enough of a loop. I'm going to show you the next part you need to do, because where do you glue? How do you know where it's going to go to? Well, you don't actually until you roll it. So I'm going to roll it right now. And by the way, I have stitched that down. Doesn't matter what colour you do because you're not going to see it, but don't let any threads stick up out the top or the bottom because that would look really nasty. When you roll this, you need to roll it quite tight, and you need to roll it as evenly as possible so that the top edges are flush. So there's no glue on this at the moment. I need to mark it. I've actually already marked it, but I'm going to show you how I've got to that mark point. Trying to lift that, keep it up, and the thing is, don't let go of this because it will just come unravelled. So rolling it around, trying to keep it tight, but of course there's nothing holding it because there's no glue on it yet. Yeah. So don't do that. So I'm trying to keep it nice and even. There we go, getting there, nearly done. Right, I'm just hoping it's going to come to the same mark point. Yay! I love it when things come out right. Can you see that? I'm now going to get my leather marking pen and I'm going to draw a line where that comes to. What's quite handy is it does finish where that little bit starts, which is really handy because that's going to look really neat. Sometimes you kind of just got to go with it, or you can manipulate it to a degree, but that actually finishes really nicely. I mean, the thing is, that doesn't have to be at the front, that could be at the back of it. You know, the way I've done it there on the jump ring is probably going to go, might actually go like that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm really pleased with how that looks. I've made my mark. Then I'm going to unravel it. Can you see? That's a bit difficult to see on metallic gold leather, but there's a silver pen mark there. What I'm going to do now is, using my knife, I'm going to scratch this leather because rubber solution glue won't really stick to smooth leather, so I'm just scratching it to lift up the nap from underneath, and I'm going to do that all the way along, but I'm going to stop short here. I don't want to go over there because that's the bit that's going to show. This is all the bit that is part of the roll. So I'm just going to mark very carefully, yeah, just inside that silver pen mark, because I don't want any nasty lines to be showing. And you know, I use rubber solution glue, as I do for all the glue processes in my bags, but right at the tip of this, I'm going to, once this is finished, I will put a tiny dab of glue onto it. Sorry, super glue. So it's super glue only there. Don't use it on any other part of it. Super glue actually really destroys leather, but if you use the tiniest bit, you won't cause any damage. So pretend I have finished scratching all of that. I will use my rubber solution glue or my other safe kind of glue that I could use with leather. I would glue it up to that silver pen mark, remembering that there's a little tiny bit I just might want to just leave a little space in the glue line where I'm going to just do a dab of super glue, and that's when it's all finished. So after I've scratched it, I'm going to glue it all over here once that glue is dry. And then going to turn it over, and I'm going to glue all of that, but don't come down. You need to make sure that you only glue just to where those cuts begin, just there, just above where they begin. So all that is glued, including that bit there, and then you're going to roll it again. Now once you've rolled it, then it's this little tip here, and I'm not going to try and lift it up because this has been secured with super glue, but it's literally just that last little triangular bit just on the underside, and I use the end of a pin and I stick it in the tube of the super glue. I've got a tiny bit on the pin, and I'll just dab it and I'll just press it really, really hard and hold it for a few moments. And if you put on too much, it's going to seep out. Your finger's going to get stuck to this tassel, obviously. So please be careful when you're using things like that. And there you will have your lovely tassel, and you can hang it onto anything that you like. But it does make a rather lovely thing to put onto a key. I hope you found that useful, and I hope you go forth and make many tassels and enjoy making them as much as I do. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Remember, any questions, please always email me, sallyaintnosate@gmail.com, or go onto my Facebook page, Sally's Sewing Bee. You can post there and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. See you in the next video. Bye.